Hare Krishna. Today is the divine appearance day of Smt Radharani. Let us understand who is Smt Radharani. The Supreme Lord Krishna, he has innumerable potencies. In the Vedas it is said, Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate Swabhaviki Jnana Palakriyacha. The Supreme Lord has innumerable energies, and all these energies automatically want to serve Krishna, please Krishna. So, to please Krishna, there are many categories of energies, and one important energy of Krishna is called internal energy or Antaranga Shakti. This internal energy, Antaranga Shakti, is understood in three categories as Samvit, Sandhini and Hladini Shakti. Samvit Shakti is that energy that updates Krishna with knowledge. Krishna knows everything. How does Krishna know everything in this creation, in this existence? That is through his Samvit Shakti. And then Sandhini Shakti maintains eternality. That energy which keeps everything eternal is Sandhini Shakti. And Hladini Shakti gives pleasure to Krishna, and this Hladini Shakti is manifest as Srimati Radharani. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada writes about who is Radha and Krishna. So let us read this and try to understand who Srimati Radharani is and what Radha Krishna is. Actually, Radha Krishna is the exchange of love, but not ordinary love. Krishna has immense potencies, of which three are principal: the internal, the external and the marginal potencies. In the internal potency, there are three divisions: Samvit, Hladini and Sandhini. The Hladini potency is Krishna's pleasure potency. All living entities have this pleasure-seeking potency, for all beings are trying to have pleasure. This is the very nature of the living entity. At present, we are trying to enjoy our pleasure potency by means of the body in the material condition. By bodily contact, we are attempting to derive pleasure from material sense objects. But we should not entertain the nonsensical idea that Krishna, who is always spiritual, also tries to seek pleasure on this material plane. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes the material universe as a non-permanent place full of miseries. Why then would he seek pleasure in matter? He is the super soul, the supreme spirit, and his pleasure is beyond the material conception. To learn how Krishna enjoys pleasure, we must study the first 9 cantos of Srimad Bhagavata. And then we should study the 10th canto, in which Krishna's pleasure potency is displayed in his pastimes with Radharani and the damsels of Vraja. Unfortunately, unintelligent people turn at once to the sports of Krishna in the Dashama Skanda, the 10th canto. Krishna's embracing Radharani or his dancing with the cowherd girls in the Rasa dance are generally not understood by ordinary men because they consider these pastimes in the light of mundane lust. They foolishly think that Krishna is like themselves and that he embraces the gopis just as an ordinary man embraces a young girl. Some people thus become interested in Krishna because they think that his religion allows indulgence in sex. This is not Krishna Bhakti, love of Krishna, but Prakrita Sahajiya, materialistic lust. To avoid such errors, we should understand what Radha Krishna actually is. Radha and Krishna display their pastimes through Krishna's internal energy. The pleasure potency of Krishna's internal energy is a most difficult subject matter, and unless one understands what Krishna is, one cannot understand it. Krishna does not take any pleasure in this material world, but he has a pleasure potency. Because we are part and parcel of Krishna, the pleasure potency is within us also. But we are trying to exhibit that pleasure potency in matter. Krishna, however, does not make such a vain attempt. The object of Krishna's pleasure potency is Radharani. Krishna exhibits his potency as Radharani and then engages in loving affairs with her. In other words, Krishna does not take pleasure in this external energy, but exhibits his internal energy, his pleasure potency as Radharani, and then enjoys with her. Thus, Krishna manifests himself as Radharani in order to enjoy his internal pleasure potency. Of the many extensions, expansions, and incarnations of the Lord, this pleasure potency is the foremost and chief. It is not that Radharani is separate from Krishna. Radharani is also Krishna, for there is no difference between the energy and the energetic. Without energy, there is no meaning to the energetic, and without the energetic, there is no energy. Similarly, without Radha, there is no meaning to Krishna, and without Krishna, there is no meaning to Radha. Because of this, the Vaishnava philosophy first of all pays obeisances to and worships the internal potency of the Supreme Lord. Thus, the Lord and his potency are always referred to as Radha Krishna. Similarly, those who worship Narayana first of all utter the name of Lakshmi as Lakshmi Narayana. Similarly, those who worship Lord Rama first of all utter the name of Sita. In any case, Sita Rama, Radha Krishna, Lakshmi Narayana, the potency always comes first. Radha and Krishna are one. When Krishna decides to enjoy pleasure, he manifests himself as Radharani. The spiritual exchange of love between Radha and Krishna is the actual display of Krishna's internal pleasure potency. Although we speak of when Krishna desires, just when he did desire, we cannot say. We only speak in this way because in conditioned life, we take it that everything has a beginning. However, in spiritual life, everything is absolute, and so there is neither beginning nor end. Yet, in order to understand that Radha and Krishna are one, and that they also became divided, the question when automatically comes to mind. When Krishna desired to enjoy his pleasure potency, he manifested himself in the separate form of Radharani, and when he wanted to understand himself through the agency of Radha, he united with Radharani, and that unification is called Lord Chaitanya. This is all explained by Srila Krishnadasa Kaviraja Goswami in the 5th verse of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, from this explanation we can understand that Radharani is not an ordinary girl, she is not an ordinary human being. She is Krishna's own personal internal pleasure-giving potency. And that pleasure-giving potency, which is called Hladini Shakti, is manifest by Krishna as in the female form of Smt Radharani, and he enjoys with her all different varieties of loving pastimes. So Radha and Krishna's loving pastimes are not like the so-called love between an ordinary human being and ordinary boy or a girl. They are spiritual. So one should not misunderstand Radha and Krishna's love as a loving affair between an ordinary boy and a girl in this material world. So that is Smt Radharani. She is Krishna's internal potency, Hladini Shakti. Hare Krishna.